What is your definition of a high-performance person?
24/7, 365, being all you can be. Elon Musk's, the Steve Jobs, the Warren Buffetts, etc., all have one thing in common. They have extremely high self-esteem. And of course, you've heard me say this before, self-esteem is built the first 7 or 8 years of life. And unfortunately, we're with our parents the first 7 or 8 years of life. Ergo, we don't have too much high self-esteem. But to build high self-esteem, and the way you build high self-esteem, if you're 25, 35, or 45, is to be around, surround yourself with other people that have high self-esteem. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. 87% of everybody that walks the face of the earth, 7.65 billion people, are unhappy. How many of you can actually say that you're trying to be all you can be? We all know what the real answer is, don't we? You're not. And so if you want to be all that you can be, and if you want to be a high-performance person, and you don't have to be, 98% of all the high-performance people on the planet are introverts. Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates have something in common. They're introverts, just like you. But being a high-performance person is a full-time job. Michael's known me over 20 years. I'm like this 24/7, 365, and I've been like this for the better part of 50 years. I have the same habits today as I had 50 years ago. The exact same habits. I didn't understand that. I didn't realize that everybody didn't have self-confidence. I didn't realize that everybody didn't have self-worth. Because the kids that I hung with all were like I was. How many of you would like to have your kids grow up just like your parents? You know the answer, don't you? Close to zero. But they're just ingrained in me. Tough love gets the job done. I did know Steve Jobs. I do know Elon Musk. I do know Warren Buffett. I do know, and they're all ball busters. Success leaves clues, kids. I just named 5 of the greatest names in business in the last 150 years. And they all have one thing in common. They're ball busters. They're hard as fucking nails.
I don't want to be like that.
No, most people don't.
I want to be liked.
Yeah, well, see, you want to fit in. I'm the only speaker that you're ever going to hear that really, with all his heart, doesn't give a shit. If I leave here you liking me, I did something wrong. I'm not here, if you all died today, I don't give a shit. And I mean it. But Steve Jobs didn't give a shit about you either. Warren Buffett doesn't give a shit about you today. Elon Musk doesn't give a shit unless you're going to buy a Tesla car. Don't you understand? Don't you get it? You think Elon Musk wants to fit in? We know the answer is no, right? You want to fit in because you had poor role models at home. Most everybody in this room is a pleaser. You want to be liked? When I read about that people commit suicide because they were unliked on Facebook, it makes me sick to my stomach. How can the world get that fucked up that because of fucking Facebook, people are going to kill themselves? What have we come to? God almighty. Don't you see there's something fundamentally wrong with that? But being liked doesn't get you a raise when you're working for whoever you're working for. Efficiency, accountability. Most people that come to seminars are there because they weren't held accountable when they were growing up. There used to be a saying when I was growing up, which is very politically incorrect now. 96.4% of the people that take the snowflake test fail. The first or second question on the test is, if someone spit in your mother's face, 4 or 5 choices. The choice that's most clicked is I would try to figure out where he was coming from and if he had a bad day. Now, what the fuck does that have to do with spitting in your mama's face? I would try to figure out if you had a bad day. Does that mean if you had a bad day, it's all right to spit in your mother's face? So the softer test was based on what kind of sacrifices are you willing to be super successful? 60 hours a week. Nobody is willing to work 60 hours a week to be successful. Nobody is willing to miss a holiday. If you booked a holiday and something important happened in business, would you tell your family to go on the holiday without you? And you're not going to go. Nobody said yes. Because you're not willing to make any sacrifices to be high performance. I still work 50, 60, I don't consider it work. I still work 50, 60 hours a week. And I haven't had to work in 35 years. So the bottom line, you're not willing to do anything. You're not willing to sacrifice anything to be a high performance person. Muhammad Ali, which used to be Cassius Clay, the great fighter, arguably one of the greatest fighters ever, he was talking shit since he was 14, 15 years old. I'm the greatest. Before he ever had a professional fight. In athletics, it's more accepted to talk shit. Okay? You've been trained, keep your head down, don't embarrass yourself, don't embarrass the family, don't say things that may not happen. And I do just the opposite. I tell you to set goals beyond your lifetime. I tell you to set goals as soon as humanly possible. When kids come to me, they want to make $1 million, 10 million, you know, and then when they've made 100 million, they say, Mr. Pena, we would have never, ever dreamt that we could create 100 million until we met you. You will never exceed your highest expectation. You will never exceed your highest, craziest thought. Never. They've told you, the theory is you set low goals so then you can stair-step achievement and you won't be as disappointed when you fail. That's the theory. But normally the person or the persons that have proposed that theory are poor. You should be embarrassed. Teenage multimillionaires flying around in their own jet plane. And he's the one that had the 15-speed bicycle. That's why I use it a lot. He's not a teenager anymore. He's 21. If he were standing right here, Josh Kim. He's half Korean, half Caucasian. But the one thing that they all have in common is they're fucking hungry. Hungry for a better life. Hungry for change. Hungry for the tough love their parents didn't give them.
So is that what it needs? You have to be hungry. You need to feel the pain.
Growth only comes through pain. It's the same in life. Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Dan Pena, Ted Turner, amongst a whole bunch of others, all had one thing in common. We all slept in our office the first 5 or 10 years of our business life. If I were you, anybody in the audience, and I could see a 17-year-old kid, multimillionaire, flying in his fucking jet plane, I'd be embarrassed. Teenager, no education, homeschooled, one of 10 kids, in a fucking, how can you, I don't care how you justify, I don't care what bullshit you can tell yourself, you can't bullshit yourself enough to overcome a fucking teenage multimillionaire in his own fucking jet. You can lie to yourself from now until Christmas, and you can't bullshit yourself over that. And that's only one kid. I got a jillion of them. What are you gonna do? They're giving away money at ING Bank, literally. What are you gonna tell your kids and grandkids 20 years from now? When your grandson, that yet to be born, comes up and says, "Granddad, what did you do during the greatest transformation of wealth in the history of the planet?"